Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to whomever, whichever, however, wherever way you shall be watching this video. If you should so choose to watch this video. And if you choose to watch this video, I appreciate you tuning in and sticking around for this short period of time to listen to what I have to say. Your time is precious and valuable, and you chose to spend it here listening to me. Um, Today's subject of the video is going to be what philosophy means to me. Now, philosophy, for me personally, is something that initially, when I was younger, uh, given my interest in some general philosophy, it's been more just word of mouth and never really understanding it from a personal experience kind of standpoint. Meaning, it's one thing someone teaches you something philosophic in nature, but unless you either don't experience what they mean by that yourself or observe it in some way that where it occurs externally, where in which you observe it as well, it could be both. Um, it's a it's a subject that is more closely uh, how should I say it? More closely relatable if you kind of get have some kind of understanding yourself, meaning that you maybe have some experience in which some philosophy can be um, fixed or associated with it, in which usually when you look back upon it, if you haven't reflected upon certain types of philosophies um, or sayings or a saying from some philosopher, you don't get the full picture. You don't really fully understand what that philosopher meant when they say it that way. If that makes sense. Um, one thing to just say. Another thing is to do, or another thing is to actually experience what that philosopher meant and why he said it or she said it in the first place. Usually through experience. Um, there is a point in time, point in purpose, point in place for philosophy. Um, but something that's ultimately, I think, should be discovered naturally to some degree on one's own. Um, you can be proactive and look up certain quotes from famous philosophers or and ponder the meaning. And you can still kind of relate by backtracking in your life based on your personal experiences and see how it relates with you. Then, in that case, you're able to obviously pick up on that relatability a lot quicker. You can understand it better because, again, you've already been through it. So it's not necessarily doesn't necessarily mean that you have to wait to go through something to understand it. You could already went through something in which uh, you have looked into this type of philosophic meaning, and you can immediately connect or relate or understand what they meant by or the purpose behind it or the intent, however you shall word it. Um, for as long as there is a mind willing to ponder about something or a given subject, whether that be something that's beyond trying to understand some traditional concept, there's always going to be some kind of philosophic uh, uh, deviation, philosophic way, or okay, I can't really word it, but there'll always be someone who's looking to try to ponder certain things in a certain way, based on their understanding, their experiences, and their observations from either their lives and or a combination of their life and others' lives, witnessing certain things as well. Um, I think that's one thing that a lot more people need to seek to really try to understand is it's one thing to do to be inspired by some kind of quote or saying or maybe a story from a philosopher. It's another thing to ponder what they meant by it. And then when you ponder what they meant by that, it just means that you got to kind of get in their headspace. You got to try to understand why they came up with that kind of statement or quote or whatever, what have you. Um, it involves interjecting yourself or injecting yourself in a way to understand uh, them as well, and how not only that, but just how it can relate to the bigger picture. Um, there's trends, there's commonalities. So again, we're humans. We're humans. Um, we're gonna have similarities. We're gonna have certain traits that we exhibit, or there are certain things that we uh, do, and there can be a pattern to it, to which you can kind of predict or see how that trend can go, and ponder why that is the case. Try to understand the undertone of it, the origination of why it kind of led that way, and just try to inspire by coming up with some form of, you could say, inspiration to prevent, say, certain histories from happening again, certain history from happening again. Ugh, sorry, can't talk. But there is a point, place, and purpose for philosophy. I think there will always be people who's going to contribute something to the whole subject at hand that's going to be relatable, but at the same time can be reverse compatible, or meaning can be easily applicable to the past if something was not necessarily contemplated. So there's that. So philosophy, I think, in terms of those who, one particular individual that I would say is the main person that I kind of deviate or kind of read up about, or do research on and listen to what he has to say is Alan Watts. He's no longer alive, but a lot of the things he's taught, spoke about, still very much relatable to this day, and is very much relatable to the past. So there's others like Osho, Sadhguru. They're much, you could say, they're more modern, but still easily applicable to things that are the case, that may have been the case in the past. If you take what they say and apply it, or and you do research about something in the past. But yeah, I think I appreciate philosophy. There's always going to be people who's going to be curious about something, who's going to want to try to understand or wrap their head around some deep meaning of things, and I'm pretty confident to say that there are still many things in this universe that we do not understand, that we probably cannot wrap our minds around, at least not right now, in which that when that time comes, it can be, I would say, game changing, but life changing to maybe to a culture or society. But yeah, so that is today's subject video. If you've stuck around this long, thank you, I appreciate it. I'm running thin on topics or subjects for these videos, and I know there's like another 7 days left in this month. So if there any one of you are a repeat viewer or subscriber, feel free to drop a comment to give some suggestions to me, to which I can make a video about what X means to me. I thank you for tuning in, listening to what I have to say. I appreciate it. You're cherished, loved, and valued. Always remember that. And if you're going through something rough, just try to hang in there the best that you can. Take it little by little, a day at a time, moment by moment if you can. Focus on one thing at a time, one problem at a time, and don't go it alone. Talk to somebody, reach out. Um, there can always be someone out there who would be willing to listen to you. Um, Again, you are loved, you are important, people love you, and you matter, you mean a lot to others. Always remember that. So again, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, night, evening, what have you, and talk to you tomorrow.